Hey everyone, AmberFrmThVault here. Welcome back to more Endzone, A World Apart. We're gonna go ahead and just jump right back in. I am so excited to be playing this right now. I am loving this so much. This is like the world's longest tutorial, but I think that it's really good. So if you watched any of my videos about the castle, one of my biggest complaints with the castle was that there wasn't enough building types. One of the complaints I do not have about this game is that there are enough building types. I love it. I feel like I can actually build a settlement that I would want to live in, and I love this. This is like the best parts of the Fallout 4 settlement building mechanic, but it actually works. This is so cool. I love it. So we're going to go ahead and jump back into it. Thank you so much to the publisher who gave me a copy of this so I could go ahead and play it for you all here. We're going to go ahead and jump right back in. I'll see you guys back in just a sec. Hey everyone, AmberFrmThVault here. Welcome to a brand new game. Now this one is called Endzone, A World Apart, and I am so excited to be playing this one. Now before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much to the publisher who gave me a copy of this so I could play it for you all. Now I just want to say this is going to be definitely one of those games that I am going to be addicted to, so whether I play it for you guys or not, I am going to be playing it because I had to start yesterday. So here's the deal. I started playing this and recording it, but I'm throwing out the original recording because I'll be honest, I sound a little drunk. Not because I was drinking, but because it was a little too late at night and I shouldn't have been recording. I should have just gone to bed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and actually record this when I'm feeling fresh. So you may notice that I do know a little bit of what's going on in the game. So we're going to get rid of all of my progress from before. Like I said, I was way too tired. I kept making mistakes and I was like, why am I so bad at this game? And then I realized it's probably because you haven't slept. So I'm going to be quiet. We're going to go ahead and get into this. I'm so excited. And we're going to let our friend Arthur talk us through this.
We finally left the end zone. Just look at this beautiful scenery. It's marvelous, even though it's a bit different from what we had pictured. We were able to secure a few basic resources and are storing them in our bus.
Alright, so the whole point of this game is that you guys saw the intro, I already put that in there. The whole point of this is that we were inside of this like vault basically, or this bunker, and now that we have actually left this area, like now that we're actually outside of the end zone is what it's called, we're outside and we're gonna have to rebuild our society, and this is totally up my alley. I love sim games, like simulation games. I love apocalypse stuff. You guys know how much I love Fallout. I love Metro. Like, this is totally up my alley. This probably is a leftover from the fact that, like, as a kid, the first Fallout came out and my dad was playing it when I was like very little, and I remember being just like obsessed with the idea of, wait, what happens if the world ends but doesn't really end? So this totally gets me. I love it so much.
I'm glad we prepared ourselves well for this kind of scenario, especially since our inventories in the end zone ran low. Don't forget that if you need additional information, you can look at our survival guide at any time.
Alright, so this is what we're going to be doing. Basically, we're going to be following the tutorial here. I have already followed quite a bit of it.
Everything you need to know should be right here. I think the time has come for us to at last build ourselves a new home here.
And Arthur is the one who's going to walk us through this. Now, I'm going to be honest, Arthur talks very slowly, and it does drive me a little crazy. Probably because I'm one of those people who would rather do things than hear about things. But it's all right. I'm going to make it through it, and you all are going to do it with me. So we're going to get through our tutorial
Before
here.
we can construct buildings at all, we have to assign the profession builder to several settlers so that they can take care of construction contracts. In general, it's your responsibility to decide which tasks are important and how our settlers are supposed to be distributed to attend to them. All right, your builders will be ready as soon as construction contracts have been issued. It's time to start focusing on our key and most basic need, water. The first thing we ought to do is to establish a working water supply. So we'll move on to our first construction contract. Place and build a jetty by a lake in the vicinity of your town center.
Alright, so here we go. So we're going to go ahead and let them actually start building it. This game was so much fun. That's the whole reason I could not stop playing it, and why I got so tired. It wasn't making any sense. I could not stop.
The jetty was completed as planned. Now we have a place where we can collect water. There are other possibilities to gather water too, but the jetty is the simplest and most cost-effective method.
All right. So as we're going through this, I just want to let you guys know that you might hear a weird sound in the background. That is my dog playing with his toy. He's currently trying to get some cheese and some treats out of a little spinning toy. So ignore that if you hear like a tumbling sound in the background.
We can obtain and store water from different sources, like a jetty, rain collector, or well in the cistern. The cistern should always be in close proximity to a water source so that our water carriers don't have to walk too far.
All right, so now we're going to have to place a cistern. And one thing I want to keep track of is we can't build roads yet, but it is something that we're going to have to be able to do later on. So I want to think about where my entrance is going to be. I think what we'll end up doing, I think this isn't a bad place. The one I originally built, I'm so glad that you guys will never see it, because I gotta be honest, it's a shit show. Like, I built this horrific town that was just such a mess and looked horrible. Everything was everywhere. Everything was just like a total mess. It was absolutely horrific. So awesome. There we go. All right, so now we need to assign a water carrier. Let's go ahead and assign a few. Perfect. And then we just need to assign, or get some water, I guess. All right. So we're going to do, this is actually a really long tutorial. And what I'll probably do.
Great. We have now installed a working water supply, and water is now transported from the jetty to our cistern. Consider hiring more water carriers if you don't have enough settlers available. You can never have enough water in storage. Now we should focus on food production. It's important to ensure the supply right from the start. A gatherer's cabin, a hunting lodge, or a fishing hut can directly remedy the situation. I suggest starting with a fishing hut, since we're already located near a lake.
Okay. So the fishing hut is built. We'll have to do the same thing, assign fishers. This kind of goes on for a while. So what I'll probably do is I'm going to show you all like different parts of the tutorial. I would love to show you the entire tutorial, but like I said, last night it took me over an hour and I don't even think I was all the way through the tutorial yet. Like, I don't even think I was close. I was actually not that far.
We've now taken care of our basic supply via food and water. Make sure that you have enough food and water on hand at all times, especially if you want to upgrade your settlement. A population that grows too fast can quickly unbalance your food and water supply, bringing major difficulties for you if you don't watch out. Crops are another excellent way of getting food, because they constantly grow as long as the soil is moist enough. Each seed has different yields and growing times. This means that it could take some time until your field is ready to be harvested, in contrast to your fishing hut, where production can be right away.
Okay, so now we're going to have to build this, and I apologize if there was a clicking sound in there. That was because Fred started to bark. Of course, every day this dog is constantly testing my patience. All right. I love him. Don't anyone take that as a bad thing. I love the hell out of this dog. Let's see. Sometimes I think he actually wants to participate. We're going to go ahead and put ours over here. And now another thing that I had a problem with last time is, so I kept having a problem with this last night, and I thought that maybe I was just crazy. Nope. I'm still... Oh, it's because it wasn't big enough. That's why. Okay. See, I could not figure out why this wasn't working last night. I was like near tears trying to figure it out. This is why I'm not ever going to release that video, because it was so bad. All right. So this is like, this shows me that this is some dry soil.
Looks good. Remember that we need the widest variety of food sources to stay healthy. You should also plan ahead for drought periods that might come when it's not going to rain. Stock up on food and adapt your production to avoid bottlenecks. I'll show you a few more strategies later on. At the beginning, we don't have much scrap wood or other resources. We could build a production building, but to obtain resources as fast as possible, it's best that we start gathering right away. Assign a Gather All Resources task. All the settlers who haven't been assigned any profession by you are going to accept these kinds of tasks. In addition, settlers distribute resources within your settlement.
Okay. So basically what we have to do now is we have to play something called the Gather Wood and the Gather Scrap. And I'm trying to remember, what are they under? Community, logistics. There's so many different like areas here. Tasks. Okay. There's so many different like little areas that you could literally find like so many different areas to do things. Or to click things, I should say. Like later on, we'll get into things that are like logistics in the community and different types of housing and that kind of stuff. And a lot of this, like I want to build right away, and I feel like I should be building right away, but the tutorial makes you kind of crawl through this stuff, and I understand why they make you crawl through it, but it does drive me slightly crazy because I just want to be like, no, I want to do it now. Alright, so I do need more available free settlers. Fine.
Since we now own plenty of resources, we can start to build a real production building. Then you don't have to always make efforts by hand that collecting is taking place. Production buildings are not only easier to manage, they are also distinctly more effective than simple tasks. Don't place production buildings too far away from your settlement. You'll be able to change their working area at any time later on.
Okay.
Right on. The best thing for us to do now is to build a forester's lodge to automate our supply of wood and make it more effective at the same time. Foresters are not only able to chop down trees, they reforest areas with trees as well.
Okay. So that's what we have. I'm going to go ahead and demolish that because there's no reason to have both. It just doesn't make any sense. Now this is going to pop in and tell me that my settlers are homeless, but if I come here to housing, none of this is available for me, which drives me slightly crazy because I can't deal with my homeless folks, and it bothers me because I want to give them homes. But obviously you're stuck with whatever the tutorial wants you to do. So like I said, it took me over an hour to get, I would say, mostly through the tutorial last night, but I never finished it because I was just like, this morning I need to start over again. I shouldn't say this morning, it's actually this afternoon, but I was like, I gotta start over again. I had so much fun playing it, don't get me wrong, but I was doing such a bad job. So I definitely needed to start over. Let's go ahead and open this again. So we're going to need to have some wood production. We only have one forester. Eventually we'll start having babies, and then that will help our population grow. For now, if you're anything like me, you're looking at this and you're like, holy crap, there's not nearly enough people, and there isn't. And it drives me somewhat crazy, but that's all right.
Good job. You might want to change this building's working area later on to tell your workers where they should get their wood from. Ah, and for your information, if you want, you can also tell your forester's lodge that they only ought to attend to reforesting an area in order to create a lush, green forest which generations to come can use.
All right.
Very good. Now we ought to take care of collecting scrap. Scrap is one of the most valuable resources because the quantities present are limited, and we can recover other resources from scrap. Unlike the task we just had, the scrap yard allows larger quantities of existing scrap to be dismantled than with ruins or wrecks.
All right, so this is where we're going to go ahead and build our scrapyard. Like I said, there's a lot going on in here, so you want to make sure that you are kind of trying to keep up with everything, but honestly, it's not that easy. It does take quite a bit of time to like build all of this stuff.
Great. You can change the working area for the scrapyard too. We can recycle scrap into 4 additional resources: cloth, metal, plastic, and electronics. We'll do that shortly, but for now we ought to take care of your settlers' needs first. Our people want a place to sleep and live. Cabins fulfill their need for safety and privacy and increase the confidence of their inhabitants. In other words, building cabins increases their willingness to start families and reproduce, if you know what I mean.
Alright, so there we go. We're getting some cabins in here. I apologize about Pup in the background. He's just very excited. It's like one of the very first nice days, and he's just like, I want to go out and play with all of my friends. Unfortunately, though, it's pandemic, so we don't really have friends right now, which is really too bad. Alright, so I'm just waiting for one more cabin to be built. There we go.
Besides cabins, you can also provide sturdy houses and shelters as housing. Sturdy houses withstand sandstorms better and have an increased storage capacity to boot. Children living in houses gradually fill up the house's stockpiles. Settlers do not reproduce in a shelter because they lack privacy.
It's something hilarious to me, or there is something, hilarious to me about to boot.
Let's return from our excursion into housing and refocus on scrap. With the help of a recycler or refinery, scrap can be sorted into 4 different resources. A recycler always takes scrap apart, one resource at a time, while a refinery automatically produces all 4 resources. To start off, you should build a recycler and produce cloth.
All right. So I did go ahead and build some extra houses. That's because I kept running into an issue the first time I was doing this, where I never had enough babies being born. I kept having problems with my population going down, and I know that it probably seems like a bad idea, but it worked out just fine for me last time, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with it. We end up making more of these in the long run, so we will have one each for metal and plastic eventually. It almost makes me just want to build them now because I know I can. I'll be honest, there's certain things in the like tutorial that I wish they would just be like, you can do it now, because it just makes sense to do it now. But we'll go ahead and leave it for now. I'm gonna build them, but I won't assign anyone, I guess. Even though I want to. Okay, we'll do metal on that one. This one will be plastic.
You can instruct your recycler to produce a different resource at a time. It's important that you focus on the resources you really need, at least in the beginning. Cloth and metal look like good options if you want to equip us with protective clothing and tools.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to take one person out and put them as a, not that. Put them there. And then while I'm here, I'm going to take one out and there. Awesome.
Happy settlers are industrious settlers. That's why we ought to look after our people and protect them against the surroundings and dangers, like radiation. So let's start by transforming our newly recovered cloth into protective clothing. A tailor will be able to help us with that.
Okay. So, where is Taylor under? No, I'm not going to remember. It's not. Oh yeah, it is resources. Okay. So the tailor, I'm going to probably want to put around the main town center, because I feel like you would go to the town center to make those types of purchases, right? Let's go ahead and build that. And then what I was looking at here, that's the overlay for how much radiation we have. So we will develop radiation over time. Let's go ahead and reduce one builder. Put the tailor on. Since we only need one, that's fine. Next scarves are being produced. So we just need to make one, and then we will be able to move on. So eventually we'll be able to put roads in between this, and that's why you'll notice I'm really spacing things out. First time I did this, I didn't do that because I didn't realize I would have roads, and this really saves roads for the end, which drives me slightly crazy. I was really close to what had to be
We
the end.
categorize environmental radiation into 4 levels: no radiation, low level, medium level, and high level radiation. The radiation changes constantly and is influenced by weather and contaminated rain. Protective clothing helps to protect us against this kind of radiation but it takes a while before it's produced. And production relies on a steady flow of incoming resources. Try to establish production chains at an early stage and start to stockpile goods so that some are always on hand.
Okay.
The tools we brought along from the Endzone are slowly but surely running out. So now, let's focus on manufacturing new tools. The tools will help us to work effectively. We'll need metal for that, so we'll prepare for production.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching me play Endzone, A World Apart, and thank you so much to the publisher for giving me this so I could go ahead and play it here on the channel. If you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and click on that picture of my big dumb face if you haven't subscribed to the channel already and would like to. If you would like to, you can click on that bell icon if you'd like to be notified every time I post a brand new video. They're also on the right-hand side of your screen. Should be some random videos there if you'd like to check out more of my content, or maybe you're more interested in what those things are in the middle of the screen. Those are all the Twitter handles for my current patrons over on Patreon. Want to know more about Patreon? That's in the lower left-hand corner. It says something about, exclusive videos and content. Go ahead and click on that if you're interested in supporting the channel. Honestly, the people that are in the middle there, please go ahead and say thank you to them on Twitter. Those are all of my patrons at the time of recording this video. These are the people who keep this channel running, and I wouldn't be able to do it without them. This has nothing to do with me. It's really just about them. So thank you so much to each and every one of you. If you'd like to join them, go ahead and click on that link. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. Please, please, please let me know if you want to see more of this, because I will be playing it anyway, and we're going to go ahead and see you in the next one. Oh boy, I can't stop playing it.